This episode, titled simply A, showed us just how brutal the world of The Walking Dead truly is, while also reminding us of what kind of world it can be. The episode starts off with a flashback with Rick and Herschel, but then the scene jumps forward in time, showing a bloody Rick shaking, leaned up against the wheel of an SUV. In the present, Rick, Carl, and Michonne are currently camped out in the woods, enjoying a fire before going to check one of their recently set up snare traps for wildlife. After Rick thoroughly explains to Carl how the trap works, they hear a call for aid, and Carl runs off into the woods. Rick and Michonne chase after him, attempting to stop him. They discover a man battling to fend off a flock of walkers in a big forest clearing. Carl instantly raises his gun to try to help, but Rick stops him when he realizes there is nothing they can do. The man is already a goner. The group eventually finds an abandoned SUV and settles on camping for the night. Rick and Michonne discuss matters by the campfire, but Joe sneaks up on them with the rest of the claimers. As Joe starts a very intense countdown, Daryl steps into frame. Daryl says that these are good people, but Joe isn't buying any of it and calls Daryl a liar. Joe gives the okay for the other claimers to beat Daryl to death. Joe then informs Rick that they're going to beat Daryl to death, sexually assault Carl, then Michonne, then finally put a bullet in his head. Rick looks over and sees what Dan is doing to Carl, and I can only imagine what is on his mind. How am I going to get Carl out of this situation alive? Is this the last time I'm going to see Daryl alive? Things of that nature. But then, Rick launched a backwards headbutt, striking Joe in the face, stunning him. As Rick struggles to find his balance, Joe grabs him and says, "What the hell are you going to do now, sport?" Rick answers by biting into his throat and killing him. In my opinion, this is the exact moment of Farmer Rick's death. While realizing what could happen to his family if he didn't do something, Rick decided that he had to fight to live, which were Shane's exact words. Although this was the death of Farmer Rick, we got Ruthless Rick to be born. The guy that goes on to murder so many people without hesitation because it kept his people safe, and in the end, he had to. The morning comes and the scene we saw at the start of the episode appears, a bloodied Rick. Daryl comes over and gives Rick a water bottle and rag to wash off all the blood from his face. Daryl begins blaming himself for having even the slightest bit of trust and faith in the claimers, but Rick says that it was not on him and that he is Rick's brother. Shortly after, they come upon Terminus. The group then decides to split up to investigate the facility before sneaking inside, just in case Terminus isn't exactly the sanctuary that it claims to be, which it's not. Carl and Michonne head off together, where they have a bonding moment. Michonne tells Carl of how her son died. She confesses that what she did was sick. After this comment, Carl says that Rick is proud of him, but feels that, because of all the terrifying thoughts in his head, he doesn't deserve anything and that he's just another monster. Rick stuffs his revolver and the rest of the group's guns into a duffel bag and buries it in the woods outside Terminus as a backup plan. The four then sneak inside by climbing over the fence. They enter a room where a whole bunch of people are working, including the characters Gareth, Alex, and a woman repeating the "Sanctuary for All" line into a radio transmitter. Gareth asks the four to put down their weapons and frisks them, welcoming them to Terminus and warning them not to try anything dumb as Alex shows them around. While meeting Mary and being offered food, Rick quickly takes notice of numerous items in the Terminus survivors' possession, such as Glenn's riot gear, Daryl's poncho that Maggie was wearing, the hitchhiker's orange backpack that Glenn took from the prison, and even Herschel's distinctive pocket watch. Realizing that something is up, he angrily slaps down a platter of food that Alex is offering to Carl, grabs Alex, and holds a gun that he took off Joe to his face, demanding to know where their people are and why their group has their things. Alex lies and claims that he found the pocket watch on a dead man, and Gareth also covers for the lie, claiming that the riot gear was found on a dead policeman and the poncho on a clothesline. Rick knows that the people of Terminus are a threat towards his people, so he doesn't take the chance. I love Rick at this moment. The scene portrays that he has no fear and it doesn't matter how many people there are. As gunfire pursues, they are forced down several alleyways that are riddled with bullets, indicating that the Terminus survivors had treated many other newcomers the same way. The group soon made it to the back fence of Terminus, but stop as they see many Terminus residents lined up outside the surrounding fences with guns. Once again, Gareth orders the four of them to lower their weapons. With no other choice, Rick surrenders. After entering the car and closing the door, they end up finding Bob, Maggie, Sasha, Glenn, Tara, Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene. Rick notices Tara from the governor's army, but says nothing. Abraham remarks that they won't be there for long, to which Rick remarks no. Rick then walks over to an opening in the side of the train car and says they're going to feel pretty stupid when they find out. Abraham then asks Rick, find out what? To which Rick responds with the very last line in this season.
They're fucking with the wrong people.
Which foreshadows how cold-blooded Rick becomes. Overall, this is one of my favorite episodes of the whole show. The change we see Rick go through is so symbolic to the key things that occur in later seasons. I believe he finally understood what Shane meant, and you can say Shane even helped him in the moment of Joe and the Claimers by finally releasing that survival instinct Rick Grimes. Anyway, that was my analysis on the season finale of Season 4. What did you guys think about it? Did you enjoy the episode? Should I do more episode analysis? If so, which ones? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.